I recently discovered that my husband had installed a tracking device in his sister's car. He's a mechanic, while he was fixing it for her. I found out about the tracking device when I heard him talking on the phone. He said his mom was on the phone and she knew about it, but I doubt it because she's close to my sister-in-law. And when he was talking on the phone, it didn't sound like he was talking to his mom. His tone was more formal than usual. I confronted him, and he refused to tell me what was happening or expand on the situation. His sister and I are close. I threatened him to tell her and her husband, but he lashed out, saying that this had nothing to do with me and that I was out of line to get myself involved. He told me it's complicated, that he couldn't say anything to me now and that I should keep my nose out of it. We argued and he started avoiding me, saying that there would be an issue if I went through with my threat. Am I the idiot for threatening to tell her? Should I back off? You are the idiot for not telling her already. Also, all your devices are probably tracked. If he does this to his sister, he likely does it to you as well. Tell her. It's probably illegal, and if you know and don't say anything, you may also get into trouble if it comes out. She's not the idiot. Then stop blaming people looking for help and apply the blame where it belongs, her husband. It's probably the sister-in-law's husband who wants her tracked, and that's who OP's husband was talking to. It's illegal for an ordinary person to install a tracking device in someone's car without their consent, and it can carry considerable criminal penalties. OP, your husband is the guilty party here, not whoever put him up to it. He could face considerable fines and even jail time. If you go through with your threat, there's an issue. Your husband will get a criminal record. My bigger concern is that your husband threatened you when you pushed him on it. This right here. If he's tracking her, he's tracking you. Dollars to Donuts' sister's husband asked OP's husband to put the tracker on her car because he thinks she's cheating. Regardless, it's wrong and disgusting. OP must tell sister-in-law immediately and begin to rethink this marriage. This is a horrible situation husband has put OP in, and frankly, one disturbing enough that I would be considering my relationship with him. I don't care if she might be cheating or whatever excuse they'll use. Cheating is disgusting too, but if they have to track her, they don't know if she actually is, and even cheaters have rights as humans. Not only would I tell the sister, but also probably law enforcement, as that's a blatant breach of her privacy. If he's also a licensed mechanic, he could face penalties. Go to a different mechanic and get your car checked. I bet there are many complicated reasons why your husband is tracking you as well. Agreed. You also need to make sure your own vehicle doesn't have a tracking device on it, which it probably does. Get your important papers in order and in a place your husband doesn't know, and prepare to leave. I'm not sure what he's up to, but it's not legal, and he's threatening you that there will be issues. Get yourself somewhere safe. This is not right or normal. My 35 female, last remaining grandmother passed away last month. That side of the family is Jewish, and it's customary to give inheritance to the grandkids in Jewish families. My sister, 27, is a single mom of 3, one with special needs. All have different dads. None are in the picture. One is in jail, another was a one-night stand in Vegas, and she doesn't even remember his first name, and the other's just an unemployed deadbeat. She's drowning in debt, mostly medical bills for her special needs child, and got fired from multiple jobs for always calling out due to her special needs child having some medical emergency. She's months behind on rent, but the landlord hasn't evicted her because he feels sorry for her. My husband, 42, and I are child-free by choice, and we do have a comfortable lifestyle, so we're going to use my portion of the inheritance for a down payment on a house. We live in an apartment, albeit a nice one, and to treat ourselves to a nice vacation in Europe. I've never been there, but dear husband has, and I've always wanted to go. My sister's portion of the inheritance will cover some of her debt. She wants to pay off the creditors first because they're threatening to take her to court, while the landlord is showing more leniency. But my family is saying I should give her my share of the inheritance because that would cover almost all of her debt. She wasn't spending frivolously. It was mostly the mounting medical bills for my special needs nephew, and it's, quote, more important than a house because we're fine in our apartment, and this is more urgent. I'm no prude or woman shamer, But the bottom line is my sister was reckless in having unprotected intimacy with multiple men and getting pregnant by 3 separate ones who, for various reasons, can't or don't help. And that's not my fault. I don't feel my husband and I should have to sacrifice our dream of being homeowners, which is incredibly hard to do these days, and having to sacrifice this vacation I've always wanted to go on. I was responsible and thought I made good choices, and I don't think I should have to suffer consequences for her poor decisions. Am I the idiot? Edit. When I told my family I'm not responsible for her reckless life choices, they agreed that she didn't make good decisions, but the children are innocent. I agree, but that's still not my fault nor my problem. I also reminded them that she could get pregnant again anytime because she's still young and she doesn't believe in protection. Even if I did give in, it would never be enough. Not the idiot. If you want to be both petty and generous, tell your family you'll match whatever money they give her. They probably won't provide any, or at least not much, because it's much easier to be generous on someone else's dime. So many people absolutely love volunteering other people's time or skills, but would never put up with that if someone asked them to do something. In concept, that offer of matching is good, but practically they could easily give her money. You match it, and then she gives them back what they gave her. Please don't do it. Follow your dreams. Your grandmother could have left more money for her or paid for things for your sister while she was alive. She didn't. She left money for both of you. If she has 3 kids and can't hold down a job, where's Medicaid? Why has she not applied for Section 8 housing? Heck, if her child's disability is particularly severe, they'll pay for her to be the caregiver of her own child. Keep your inheritance for you. Feel no guilt. You're never obligated to dig someone else out of their crap, even family. Yeah, I don't know about Jewish customs, but in my country, the children get a bigger part of the inheritance than the grandchildren. Tell those busybodies that unless they're willing to put action to words themselves and help her out, they need to shut up about you doing it. My wife and I have a baby girl. She's mostly a stay-at-home mom. She works 2 half-days a week, and her sister watches the baby. I work full-time and go to school 1 day a week. We've always had an arrangement where she takes care of the household duties, cooking, cleaning, and now baby care, while I happily support her monetarily. Honestly, we're both living our dream life, and my wife does a spectacular job of taking care of me and our little one. On the weekends, we share the baby duty. We usually make sure one of us gets alone time to do whatever we want. However, our girl has a bit of a sleep regression, waking up every 2 hours since my wife breastfeeds. She's always taking care of the baby full-time overnight. She's a light sleeper and unfortunately has insomnia, whereas I'm a deep sleeper and wouldn't wake up for baby cries anyways. Recently, my wife has been asking me to wake up with the baby both days on the weekends so she can get an extra hour of sleep. Baby wakes up around 7 a.m. I get the baby dressed and take over for that hour. But sometimes, I want to be the one that gets to sleep in an extra hour. I brought this up to her, and she says while she's happy to let me nap during the day, she really needs that hour because she can't nap as I can. We got into an argument about it, and she says I'm being very insensitive when I know she's exhausted and can't nap during the day, and she struggles going back to sleep every time the baby wakes up. But I'm exhausted too. Work wears me out and school days are long, and I sometimes want the hour in the morning. I don't want to spend my off time napping. I want to play video games and chill out. I've gotten mixed opinions on who's in the wrong or if anyone's in the wrong. Am I the idiot for asking us to share mornings off for sleep? You are the idiot. If she's taking all the night duty because you don't wake up, then you get the morning duty when you do wake up so that she can catch up on her lost sleep in the night. If you want a morning off, give her a night off. I'm never certain why people choose to have kids and then complain about how hard it is. Yeah, like, duh, being a parent is hard, but this is what you asked for. Once you choose to bring a life into this world, that child becomes your world. But video games? Nope, you are the idiot, OP. You can't have both nights and mornings, and your video game time might just have to suffer for a while. RIP, OP. She works part-time, takes care of the baby, does all the housework, does all the night feedings, can't sleep, but sure, you'd like an hour. So you're out of the house all week, and you do what? Spend 1 hour a day helping to take care of your kid? And you like more time to play games? You have no idea what her day looks like, do you? Take 3 days off and send her on a mini vacay to sleep somewhere and see all the stuff that she does daily on repeat. Not only is she working, but she's enabling OP to work by providing childcare for their joint child, which he would otherwise have to pay for. But no, he supports her monetarily. She's supporting you, idiot. If you, OP, didn't want to make sacrifices personally, physically, financially, emotionally, and mentally, then you should not have had a child. I hope you get a grip on this and sort out your priorities so that this baby has a healthy 18 years living with you. My wife, Maddie, and I have been together for 5 years. I have a daughter, Rachel, young teen, and son, Mitch, tween, from my previous relationship, and a stepdaughter, Talia, same age as Rachel. We've always had separate finances and originally had similar paying jobs. While hers has definitely become better than mine, we've stayed as we are, aside from shared expenses being split more equally. Around 7 months ago, we found out that Rachel is terminally sick. I've been doing everything I can for her, trying to help her and getting the best treatment I can afford. But the issue is I can't. I'm draining my savings and can barely afford more basic treatment. I can pay for necessities and treatment, but nothing else. Maddie has been financially fine throughout. She's paying more for the necessities, but she's constantly buying Talia things, taking her out, and letting her do things that I can't do for either of my children. I know we agreed to have separate finances, and it's not wrong per se, but it's definitely been causing some conflict, though I've tried hard to work it out. I know that it's my responsibility, but it's just not working well. I can't afford extracurriculars, or for them to go out with friends or special dinners or anything. Rachel's birthday is coming up, and I want to do something nice while we can. This is likely her last birthday, which is why I want it to be a really good one. I asked Maddie for help if she could cover her birthday because I couldn't, but Maddie refused. She's paying for almost all the essentials and doesn't think she should have to pay for this. She knows I can't pay her back, and it's my responsibility. I understand all that, but it's not fair. I'm not asking for my own sake. Rachel and Mitch are already missing so much, and I know how horrible Rachel feels. I just want this one good special night for her. Also, Maddie currently earns 2.5 times as much as me. She doesn't have medical expenses, obviously, and pays 80% of the necessities. My ex has passed away and always refused to pay child support even when she was alive. Am I the idiot for asking my wife to pay for my daughter's birthday when we have separate finances, and I will not be able to pay her back realistically? No idiots here. You're not an idiot for asking. She's not an idiot for sticking to your original arrangement. Plus, you said she's paying for all the essentials, so it sounds like she's already contributing to shared expenses. Guilt-tripping her would make you an idiot. That being said, I'm curious about your relationships with each other's stepkids. There's a difference between separate finances and separate families. Your wife has known Rachel for 5+ years. Do they not have a connection at this point? There's a difference between her saying you're responsible for medical bills and not being willing to help with her last birthday. The wife sounds heartless. Rachel is terminally ill. This is her parents' child. Refusing to buy her terminally ill stepchild a birthday present? How? In what universe does that not make someone the biggest idiot in existence? You say we don't share money, so screw your dying kid? Really? The wife is a nasty piece of work for denying this, especially while constantly treating her own daughter. This is not a normal situation, and it's really disgusting that she has so little regard for her dying teenage stepdaughter. If their entire marriage is transactional, why the heck stay married? What is the value of this relationship? To be honest, OP should be on the way out of the relationship after he sorts himself out emotionally, because I can't see any relationship surviving this kind of coldness. Your wife is paying 80% of the essentials, and she makes 2.5 times more than you. Very precise. You also freely admit that you can't or won't pay her back. I just really feel like there's more to the story. I have a feeling your wife is saying no because otherwise you will drain her accounts the way you've drained your own. And I don't think it's out of greed, just carelessness. I'm not going to call a father with a sick child an idiot, but I'm also not going to call a woman with a child an idiot either for prioritizing her financial security and her own child. I'm sorry your daughter's sick, but if you are as careless as you appear, I don't blame your wife for saying no. She also has to look out for herself and her daughter, like you have to look out for your kids. How the heck is spending money on medical costs for a sick and now terminal child careless? He didn't go out and run up his credit cards on crap he couldn't afford, and the idiot wife can constantly treat her own perfectly healthy daughter and shower money on her. Still, she won't do anything for her dying stepdaughter, who's already lost her mother and her emotionally suffering husband. Why do people in marriages with mixed families not consider their stepchildren their children? This isn't a partnership. I'd do this for a friend, let alone my husband and his sick child. I think her true colors are showing, and they're ugly. My girlfriend is super into hiking, and we planned a trip to Cali that involved a hike in the Grand Canyon she always wanted to do. We did a hike the day before that was too intense for me, and I'm not as fit as her. I finished, but I couldn't go to the other hike, aka her dream hike. It's also not meant to be done in one day, and the ranger said it was hard to do in one day and not advised. She said she was confident she could do it, saying she had hiked harder and she was very fit. But I just felt like she was discounting what the ranger said. I said I wasn't going, and she said she would go alone, and I asked her to wait till tomorrow for me to recover. She said the weather report had a 30% chance of rain for tomorrow, and that she wasn't going to give up on a bucket list hike. And if I still wanted to do it tomorrow, she'd do it again with me. I got mad because I felt she was okay with abandoning me with nothing to do at the campsite, and I didn't want to talk to her that evening. She didn't seem to care and prepped for her hike. She finished it the next day, and I felt like she didn't care that I was too tired to hike and chose to go without me. To me, the people are more important than the activities, but to her, she wanted to finish the hike at all cost. You went on a trip to go on this specific hike, and only the day before realized you're not fit enough to go on said hike, and you expected her to abandon her dream now that it was right there in front of her. You are the idiot. Right? He should have looked up the map, its length, and how strenuous it was before even thinking of going on the trip. He also could have listened to his girlfriend one of the times she was talking about her dream hike. I doubt she left out those details. I thought maybe he was concerned about her hiking alone for safety reasons, but he's just cranky that she's not there to entertain him. Screw that noise. OP's been training all right, training for the Winter Olympics. Dude, I hate the outside, but if my husband had a hike he wanted to do with me, I would train like a lunatic for that, because I love him? And then he's trying to frame it as people are more important than activities. She went for one day. It was just one day that he was without her. And to him, that's abandoning him? Jesus, I'm afraid of what'll happen if she wants to have a spa weekend alone or an evening out with her girlfriends. Abandonment? How dare she? She needs to stay home to keep him company at all times. Passion? A hobby? Sure, if he's also there. If not, forget it. That's just controlling BS. She sounds like a really interesting person. On the other hand, you come across as a whiny, needy bore. Do better.